All right, welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. It is opening day officially, even though we had one baseball game last night. Today is really opening day for most of the league. 11 games. There's 6 teams that have to wait until tomorrow to play their first game, but we're ready to get into it. We're going to be talking Paul Skeens, the Pirates and the Mets kicking it off on NBC at 1 p.m. The Dodgers also try to embark on a three-peat, something that hasn't been done since last century at this point, the late 90s, the Yankees, the last team to win 3 straight World Series. I got Tokyo Brandon. I got Bryan Leonard with me. We've also got a great special on the website. It is the double play, the pick 2. I don't know. I feel like I'm at Panera, Bryan Leonard. You know, you get to pick a soup or a sandwich. You get to pick 2 of the handicappers. So it's either myself, Tokyo Brandon, me and Bryan Leonard, TB and Brian, whoever fits your, thing the best. You get 2 of us, 3 days, all of the plays. And of course, we still have the other specials right now. I think it's 3 and 3. So that's all access for any handicapper. It's like buy 3 days, get 6 free. Those are up at the website right now. Bryan Leonard, I'm coming to you first. I know you're just as jacked up as me. It's 6 a.m. You're ready to go. How you doing today? And also kick us off. Paul Skeens headed to the Big Apple, the first game of the opening day. 11-game slate today, Pirates Mets.
Good game to talk about, not only because I'm excited about both of these 2 teams, but they're pretty good teams this year. A lot of people think the Pirates are going to be a contender in the division this year, and they may be about a year early, but still, they've really improved their team. Still don't have enough power, if you ask me, and they do play in more of a pitcher's ballpark. But they're going against Skeens is going against Freddie Peralta here, and Freddie Peralta is not playing for the Brewers in this game, as he's a free agent, and the Mets signed him, and that's actually maybe a little bit better for him on the season, as I really like betting unders in this stadium. We've got 2 pitchers right here in Skeens and Peralta that could clearly do that. The problem I'm having is if you take a look at Freddie Peralta, he has not pitched in the last 12 days. Everybody else on the schedule today has gone the last 5 days or so. So he's a guy that comes into this game. I believe he's only been pushed up to like 43 pitches. So if he's in there, may not be in there very long. I don't think they're going to throw him for the complete 5 innings. So keep that in mind if you're looking to play props. Also, I usually don't like to play early on in the season on guys who are big free agents, big guys moving teams playing early, which is why I'm going to fade a lot of hitters that are switching teams, and I'm going to fade the pitchers. So we've got a guy in this situation for Peralta where normally he had a great season last year. I don't think he's that good, but he's a guy who it changes teams and is pitching opening day, a lot of pressure on him, and he also has not been built up. So I think the value right here, we're looking at Peralta and the Mets roughly about anywhere from a 115 to 125 favorite out there. I like Pittsburgh in this game, and yes, the Mets are the much better team than what the Pirates are, but in this individual game, and every game is different. Every day is different. That's why we love baseball. I'm going to use the Pirates in this one.
Let's bring in Tokyo Brandon. Great call on the Yankees last night. That was simple. Nice, easy win right there. Obviously, I feel like you've, been willing to take shots with Paul Skeens, almost, I guess, at prices that, I think you've been pretty bullish on taking him in, even when he's a little bit inflated. I look at this and I'm kind of with Brian. I feel like you're getting a bargain on Skeens here, all things considered. TB, talk to me about the Pirates, Skeens, and also that layoff for Peralta as opposed to some of the other guys that have gotten to pitch more recently. There's one of the chat questions here talks about guys coming off a World Baseball Classic. How are you approaching that as well?
So regarding the World Baseball Classic, I think guys who pitched in pressure situations in the World Baseball Classic could be candidates for a slight temporary regression, just because, it's really hard for athletes to get jacked up and then back down and then jacked up again. Even in the same game, it's hard for them to do. It's hard for them to do it in the same week or the same month as well. But talent is talent, and talent's going to come through. I think, like, for someone like, I don't know, I can't think, someone who pitched for Team Canada or someone who pitched for Nicaragua, maybe I won't see much regression or temporary regression for them because they didn't really have any pressure situations and they didn't pitch in the WBC for 2 weeks now. So, but the teams that were in the championship, the teams that were in the semifinals, yeah, you could see a little regression. Regarding this game, yeah, Peralta's been off. I'm sure he's been doing simulated starts and things like that. And that's how these guys keep their rhythm, because these guys really are creatures of habit. But, the season's just starting, and I don't, there's not a lot that you're going to knock them off their rhythm too much at the very beginning of the season. So I agree with Brian's assessment of Peralta. I don't think he's an ace. He's not like an elite guy. He's all right. His recent history against the Pirates, though, he's got a 3.91 ERA in 5 appearances. He's 2-1 in the last 2 years against them, where Skeens has a 2.08 ERA against the Mets in the last 2 years with 14 strikeouts in 2 starts. So the way I'm going to look at this, I think I agree with Brian also that the Pirates are not a terrible team. They might not be a playoff team, but they're not bad. I mean, on any given day, yeah, the Mets should knock them around, but when it's a Skeens day, that's something different. So the Pirates definitely have the pitching advantage here. But actually, I think the bullpens are fairly equal. But you guys know how I cap. I like current form, and there's no current form on opening day. So I'm going to go with Paul Skeens. His outs prop was 15.5. I thought that was really low because he's pitched 6 innings and 7 innings against this team in the last 2 years. I know it's opening day, but I went with Max Fried over 15.5 outs yesterday and won it. I don't think managers are that, hooky to take a guy out so soon if it's Skeens. And actually, I've read a lot of reports that the Pirates are going to let Skeens go a lot more innings this season than they did last season. So we'll see how that shakes out. I've just been reading some things. You never really know until the game's actually played, but I like Skeens over 15.5.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be in a rush to take Skeens out. I mean, I actually make the Pirates -112 a slight favorite here. Going back just last year to this year, I think this Pirates team is a lot better than the team that they put on the field last year. So I don't think you're going to have that sort of dynamic that you did last year, where it's like, okay, well, it's Skeens, but it's this awful team. I don't think the Pirates are a playoff team per se, but they're closer to that than they were last year by a lot, I think. I mean, I think they could win. I think they could flirt with 500. I don't think it's crazy to think the Pirates could win half of their games. So again, I think for right now, you're getting Skeens in the plus 105 plus, even money range. I think that's pretty solid. And then as far as Freddie Peralta is concerned, he's not going past the 5th inning anyway. I mean, even when he's like in form, he's really a 5-inning guy. So while the Mets are one of the better teams in the National League, I still think you're going to be asking like 5 different Mets pitchers to come out and pitch well today. You're probably going to have maybe 3 or 4 relievers and then Peralta. I don't know. I think I trust the Pirates kind of the way they set up a little bit more. So I'm on the Pirates as well. That is, that's something that I actually may bet, and we'll see if I give it out in the best bet segment, which will be at the end of the show, where we will lock in our parlay. So this year we're going to wait till the end to lock our parlay, and we'll sort of go through the games. And I'm going to go back. Let's get Bryan Leonard back in here. Let's talk Dodgers, Diamondbacks. Brian, the Dodgers, no one's disputing the fact that they are projected to, they are the best team in baseball until someone says otherwise. They're projected with the highest win total by far. But boy, do they look inflated for a game where they're going to be getting their rings and they might just be like partying today. I don't love the Diamondbacks, but wow, that is a big number. Go ahead, Dodgers, Diamondbacks. And are you fading the ring ceremony is the question.
You know, that's funny. I have always used the ring ceremony in other sports and had a lot of success. Baseball is more of a laid back game as opposed to football and basketball. So I don't know if it means as much, especially when the Dodgers have been so good for so long. It's not like they jumped out of the lower tier and won the World Series last year. So we'll have to see how that works out. But it's always something you have to keep in mind. The problem here is everybody knows the Dodgers are the best team, and Arizona's number one starter was a guy that nobody else wanted. Zach Gallen. They thought he was going to go somewhere else and make some money. Nobody, of my knowledge, made any serious offers. So now he's back in Arizona again because they have a lack of pitching. That's the worst part of this team is the pitching. Arizona's offense is very good. It's one of the best in the league, but the pitching staff is the problem. The Dodgers, obviously, the pitching staff is not the problem. They've got a great bullpen, whereas Arizona right now doesn't even really know for sure who their closer is going to be. So they've got a couple guys that going to miss half the season in the bullpen. Key members, probably the best members. So I am worried about Arizona in the second half of the game. Gallen really hasn't been. Both these pitchers last pitched 6 days ago, so they're both in the same group. Gallen's looked okay in preseason, not great. He's had some good and bad, but he knows this team very well in the Dodgers. He's been in this division for a long time, so I would expect maybe we get a little bit better effort out of him here against the Dodgers. Yamamoto, a guy who is, when he's pitching, he's one of the best in baseball. Problem is with a 6-man rotation, and they're going to piggyback. We got a couple guys that piggybacking for the season. Yamamoto's stats is going to be a little bit slower on innings, so he's not going to get. He may not get the Cy Young votes he would be, but when he's on the mound, he's a guy you want to back. The problem is we're looking at right now, and they're anywhere from like 250 to 275 favorite. I'm not going to lay that early in the season. So I need to find a different way to look at this game, maybe play some props, something of that effect if I'm going to play this one. But right now, I can't lay the number, and I really don't want Arizona in this one.
So Tokyo Brandon, I am one of my biggest sort of number edges here of the day is the Diamondbacks. I think, and I don't think that's crazy because the Dodgers are going to be inflated probably on a day-to-day basis. But man, I don't think this Diamondbacks team is very good this year. I guess that's why, plus 1.5 plus money is sitting right out there for me. Plus 105 with the visiting team. So if I like the Diamondbacks at all, that's certainly the way I would go, but I just can't seem to get myself there. I think it's because of the bullpen, because of the injuries. What do you think? Dodgers, D-backs, is there any path here for Arizona to get on that side?
So starting pitching, we've got a Cy Young candidate versus a guy who you probably never mentioned the word Cy Young with his name ever in your life. Zach Gallen's not a terrible pitcher, but he's just a reliable ho-hum kind of guy who'll get you 5 innings and give up 3 runs. So that's why no one wanted to take him. But Yamamoto's electric. And last year, the bullpen was the Achilles heel for both of these teams, in my opinion. The Diamondbacks did have some talent, but they didn't perform up to it. The Dodgers acquired Scott, and they acquired a couple other guys, and they didn't pan out. But this year, they've improved their bullpen even further. And in the offseason, I don't think the Diamondbacks got better. Matter of fact, I think they got worse. If there's a side bet here, I think the Dodgers would be the only way to go. Might have to lay the 1.5 even at home, which is in our business is sometimes a no-no. But there's also the ring ceremony thing that you guys brought up. That is a thing. I mean, I'm not a superstitious guy, and I'm not one of those they want it more or they're trying harder kind of thing. I think at this level, everyone's trying for their contract. So I'm not a believer in that kind of stuff, but the ring thing is a thing. It actually is a detriment to winning But I think this team's just too good. I don't think it'll be a factor today. In this case, I generally like to take a -1. If it's -180, -170, I'll take a -1. But this is beyond that. A -1 will only get you to -200 in the odds. So I don't think a -1 is worth it either. You'd have to take the 1.5. Or like Brian said, look for a prop. That's the only way I would be able to approach this one. I'm not touching the Diamondbacks with the 10-foot pole in this game.
All right, we are going to move on. This next segment, we're going to go a little bit quicker. We're going to go entirely off of what you guys are looking at in the chat. So I'm going to go to Bryan Leonard on Jack's question here, just because I think he's definitely got a strong opinion on one of these teams. So basically, is it too early to fade the terrible Cardinals? Feels like this game in June would be Tampa Bay -140 or more. And Brian, is that I've heard a lot of the terrible Cardinals. I mean, are they much worse than the Rays? Talk to me about Rays Cardinals a little bit.
The Rays are a little strange to me this year because there's people I respect that love the Rays. They love what they've done. I'm not so sure I'm going to buy. They got Rasmussen on the mound today against Liberatore, and Rasmussen's about a 115, 125 favorite. You're looking at a Tampa Bay team who I just don't think they're a team that likes to mix and match a lot of lefty righty kind of stuff. I love the management at Tampa Bay. They've got one of the best managers in baseball, and they've got a third baseman, by the way, that everybody's going crazy about. But they are moving back from a hitting standpoint. They are moving back from a minor league park that was a good hitter park, and now they're going back into their home park, which is a good pitching park. Now, this game's obviously on the road to St. Louis, but that's moving those hitters. Yeah, they played very well outside of this Tampa Bay stadium, but when you get back into Tampa Bay, you don't hit as well. That's going to be a concern when they go back home. That's not the concern today. Liberatore, normally some of these pitchers for St. Louis, they're young pitchers that haven't performed well in the past. Liberatore had a great preseason, and that's why he's the starting off this first game here. He's a left-hander against Tampa Bay, playing at home. This is more of a pitcher's park in St. Louis. I like that. We talked about this yesterday. I like St. Louis's team this year better than most guys do, but I love Drew Rasmussen. He's probably my favorite pitcher in this Tampa Bay lineup. You take a look at him over the years. I don't know if he's ever had a 3 ERA. The guy's amazing. If he played 100% of the time, never got hurt, we'd be talking about him like we do Snell. I mean, he's that good. That's the only thing that I'm concerned with here. If I play anything in this game, I may look at the under. We're looking at a couple eights to the under, but 7.5 at even money to the under. That would be the way I go in this one. I don't think either offense is that great right now. As the season goes on, when St. Louis brings up some of those rookies that are really good, I think their offense will be a lot better. But right now, I would play this game under.
Yeah, I mean, my number here, so just to go back to the original question, -140 in a couple months. I mean, I make this -115 raise. So it's like I actually show a little bit of value to the Cardinals. I think for me, if I wanted the raise here, I would just be betting on Rasmussen. If you take him out of the equation, I would all of my sort of numbers, the way I'm looking at both of these teams this year would actually have me on the Cardinals side. But yeah, Rasmussen's not a guy that I really want to bet against at this point. But I still actually show a little bit of value to the Cardinals. If I showed more, I'd be willing to take a chance. But these opening day lines are a little bit tighter than probably you'll see all season. These next 2 days, I mean, you're probably going to have to go very contrarian to find any real value on sides the next couple of days because, of course, it's opening day. The lines have been up for a couple of days. There's only 11 games. Everyone's got their ace on the mound. But Tokyo Brandon, I'm going to go to Tokyo Brandon in the chat. He said it's never too early to fade trash. So I'll ask you 2 questions. 1, I don't exactly know what you were referring to by that. But 2, I think when I think trash this year, TV, I think the Washington Nationals. I think the Washington Nationals are going to be the worst team maybe in Major League Baseball this year. They're certainly going to be down there. So do you have any interest in fading them out at Wrigley Field this afternoon?
Absolutely. And when I said it's never too early to fade trash, someone in the comments said, is it too early to fade the Cardinals? So I was calling the Cardinals trash. I know you guys are not as frowning upon the Cardinals as I am, but I think they just lost. I don't think they improved themselves in the offseason. I think they're going to have a worse season than last season, but that's what I was referring to. But regarding the Nationals, no, I absolutely don't think it's too early to fade the Nationals. If you look at the pitching matchup, if you look at the lineups, if you look at the bullpens, I mean, the bullpen is a huge liability for the Nationals. I think their starter today is a young guy who has potential, but it's a matter of when the potential is going to kick in and he's going to start actually looking good, because he's got talent, but he hasn't performed to that talent. Boyd is kind of a proven commodity. You know what you're going to get. It's not a shiny Ferrari, but it is a drivable car, and it'll get you where you're going. On the other side, you don't know if you're going to get where you're going. So add that together with the proven lineup against the non-proven lineup. I really like Abrams, though. I love watching Abrams play. He's so talented. He's a really fun guy to watch, but that's really the only reason I would watch the Nationals game. Rotation, bullpen, man, the biggest liability for them is their bullpen. I just think the Cubs are going to trounce them today.
This is interesting. I'm going to stay on this game. We'll go to Brian. If you want to add anything on today's game, feel free to go ahead. For me, Cavalli, he's fine, but there's no bullpen arms. There's zero bullpen depth. I don't know how much the depth matters on opening day, but this was one, Brian, where my sort of number was not showing as much value, despite them being one of the bigger underdogs of the day. And talk to me about, that's an interesting bet. Plus 750 for fewest wins. I think the Rockies are going to be better than people think. I don't hate that one bit. I think you could throw a flyer on plus 750 for fewest wins. I'm interested in that. Talk to me about the Nats and the Cubs.
Well, I do like Cavalli. He's a guy that had to deal with some injuries over the years. And if there's anybody I'm looking to back out of this Washington starting rotation, it would be Cavalli. You talked about the bullpen. The bullpen is lousy. Boyd, I was a big fan of Boyd last year. Got off to a great start. Did not pitch well in the second half of the season. He was pitching over his head early on. I still like him, but I don't know if I want to lay this big number with the Cubs here. What I gave my clients, what I'm doing for my clients this year, the ones that signed up for the season, I'm giving them small 1% plays overnight, looking to take advantage of good numbers. And I gave them the under in this game. We are looking at roughly about a 7.5 right now. There's still some sevens out there, which means, and anytime you're looking in Chicago for the Cubs, pay attention to what the total is. If the wind's blowing out, you could see 14s. If the wind's blowing in, you could see 5.5. So 2 aces are on the mound. So the wind is probably blowing in here. It's something where teams have come from warmer climates in the spring, and now they're going to play in colder climates. Now, I haven't seen the weather yet today. I'm 6 a.m. my time. I'm giving out my plays later on in the season or later on in the day for my clients this year once I figure out everything else. But I gave an early play on the under. I thought the under was a nice play here. I like Cavalli. I think he'll go the full 5 innings. Boyd being a lefty, I think is going to have some success here against Washington. Do like the Chicago bullpen, much better than Washington. But if I can get under 7.5 here at a decent number, yeah, I like the under in this one.
All right, I want to bring Tokyo Brandon back in, but I'm going to say a few words about this game first, because I have some opinions on these two teams, and I'm interested in something here. So we'll see if TB can either confirm what I'm going to say or talk me off. Now, Ghostwind Sports says Angels might lose 100 games. I don't really disagree with that. I'm not high on the Angels one bit, but I think the Astros might be the biggest sort of dip of any team in baseball. I think this team I don't think they're a 500 team. So if you talk about where they're priced relative to where I think they end up, I am in major Astros fade mode this year. They have a banged up bullpen. Their best play, obviously their best player is Yordan Alvarez. Can he stay healthy? We'll see. But Jose Altuve, what is he, like 36, 37 at this point? Last year, I got this shoved right in my face, boys. I was on here talking about this Astros team being no good, and they just found way after way. They just kept finding ways to win. They kept plugging guys in. Miracle year for them, in my opinion, last year. I think I'm going to be what I was saying last year, I think comes to fruition this year. So I'm looking for ways to fade the Astros. Angels plus 1.5 is tempting, but it's a little bit juiced right now. If this were to come down 15 to 20, give me this in the minus 110, minus 115 range here, I'd be all over it. TB, talk to me, Angels, Astros. Am I crazy to think the Angels start 1-0 today?
No, actually, I fully agree with your sentiment there that the Astros are regressing a little bit. I fully agree with that. And that's going to play into what I'm going to use as my best bet on the show is going to be this game. So I'll just put it out there right now while I analyze this game. The Astros lineup really wasn't anything to be that afraid of last year. And the Angels lineup certainly wasn't anything to be afraid of last year, especially after losing Mike Trout, which they do every season. So I don't like really either lineup here. The bullpens, I don't really like the bullpens either. But it's opening day. Bullpens are fresh. You can use your best arms to grind out a win on opening day without worrying about how many innings he pitched in the last 3 days. And then starting pitcher, Hunter Brown is, I made a free play video today on WagerTalk, and I broke this down. Hunter Brown is on the precipice of being elite. I don't think he's in the group of elite, but he's on the precipice of it. He's almost there. He's a really good pitcher. Jose Soriano, he is my chronic walker. He walks a lot of people. He doesn't have control of his stuff, but he performs really well against this Astros team. And back to your point about the Astros regressing and not being afraid of them, I think he can actually hold them down today. I really like an under in this game. I think it was 8. My numbers say this is going to be around 6 or 6.2, way under 8. So I don't think either team's really going to score that much. It takes testicular fortitude, Brian, to take an under on a Nats game. And I'm going to use the same testicular fortitude to take an under on an Angels game because the Angels bullpen is almost as bad as the Nationals. And their rotation is horrible too. But I think Soriano performed well against the Astros last year. I think he can carry that in on opening day. I like the under in this game, and that's going to be my leg of the parlay for this show.
All right, TB, we'll come back to you in a minute. Before I get Brian's best bet, we've got about 90 seconds before I'm going to go to you for a best bet. So, Brian, why don't you jump in on Astros Angels and give your thoughts here?
Well, I talked yesterday. I thought the Angels would have the worst record in baseball. I found a number 17-1. You can bet the Angels and get 17 times your money by playing them as the worst record in baseball. I talked about it yesterday. Don't have time today, so go back and watch yesterday's show if you want to find that out. I also like the Angels here. I am looking to fade Houston. Houston, this is baseball and it's a long season. The team I just predicted would have the least amount of wins, I'm looking to bet on today, and that's the Angels because of the starting pitchers here. Soriano does walk a lot of people. That's because he gives up home runs and he doesn't want to throw the ball down the middle. It's worked out well for him. He's been their ace for a few years now. I like that situation. Problem is in this one is I don't like the Angels bullpen. So I would prefer the first half here in this game. And we could get the Angels in the first half of this game at roughly 145 range. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, for me, the Angels, listen, it's going to be over the course of the season as guys start to get hurt, as, they grab some interesting bullpen pieces. So like, but the problem is it's like I don't think they're built to do much over the course of 162. So hey, first couple weeks, everyone's healthy. Angels, this might be your time to play the Angels because this is the type of team like they could start the year 10-10, but then they could lose 25 of their next 35. That's kind of how I see the Angels. So I don't hate them in a one-off here, but yeah, I'm with you in the respect that I don't think they're going to do much this year, and they're probably going to be a pretty good long-term fade. Brian, I got to say this. I think I like your 17-1 on them to have the worst record better than the Nationals at plus 750. So I will say that. TB, I want to give you the floor here. You've already kind of given your best bet. So just tell us what it is again. If there's anything else you want to talk about, if there's anything you've got to promote for today.
Yeah. WagerTalk set up that deal for us. It's the double play. You can pick two of us. We can't see how many sold to what, so we don't know who's going to be the most popular person, but it could be a popularity vote as well.
It'll be you for sure. You're the most popular guy here. Come on.
Yeah. But anyway, so we got that deal going on. I think you get 3 days of two of us for like $40 something. I think it's 49 if I'm not mistaken. So it's a great deal. And I have a 5% play out today. You could actually get that 5% play, which is normally $35 for about what? $14 more, and you can get another capper as well. So we all have different opinions. We all have different approaches to our betting. So taking two of us would be a very good advantage for your portfolio. I do like the Angels under today, the Angels Astros. The Astros lineup is underwhelming in my opinion. And I just think Soriano is going to perform at least once this season, and is probably going to be today. That's about all I have to say. On my Twitter X account, Tokyo_Brandon, I have released the outs recorded, the top outs recorded bets. So I put that out for free, so you can go check that out as well.
TB, what are you seeing for a number on the under? It looks like you could either go with a reduced juiced 8, or do you want to throw 8.5 with juice in it for the parlay? I'm fine with that for the parlay if you want the extra half run.
Let's do that. I don't see a number in front of me right now, but it's probably like minus 140 or something like that, I imagine.
Yeah, I was going to say that under with the 8.5 is like minus 130. Again, right. You could play it under 8. At like
let's go under 9,
but yeah, well, listen, I want to.
I'm kidding.
So here's the deal. I gotta, and I'll just, before I bring Brian back in, like we profited on the parlay last year, and after doing the college basketball show, and the fact that we're going to finish a little bit negative on the parlay, it's like very, very impressive that we were able to go 6 months and turn plus money on a show 3-teamer. Brian, you're nodding. Go ahead, jump in. Talk to the people how impressive that is.
Yeah, it's extremely impressive. I had no idea we were even going to come close. We ended up making money. Keep in mind, I don't play parlays. I'm not really sure any of us do. This is a gimmick to get viewers, to be honest with you. Hey, we try to be as honest as we can to you. I play the games individually. So I made even more money than that. So and as for this great special they've got for us, buy 2 out of the 3. If you're new to us, I strict solely on Major League Baseball. Trig does Major League Baseball and then minor league baseball, right?
Yeah, I sprinkle some Korea in, but yeah.
There you go. And then if there's a home plate on any stadium in the world, that's Tokyo Brandon. He plays Korean baseball. He plays Japanese baseball. So if you have the ability to bet those games, then you want to go with him. If you can't bet them, maybe you choose something else. But if you're only interested in Major League Baseball, that's me. I got enough on my table to get all that done every day. So then if that's fine. So that's one way to look at it. I'm going to take a look at my best bet today, and I'm going to take a sizable underdog. I'm going to take the Chicago White Sox. They're at Milwaukee. Mizorowski's going for the Brewers. A big flamethrower. Everybody loves the guy. The guy made the All-Star team, throwing 3 to 5 starts, something like that in his first season. So he's a guy that's been out there. You're betting on name. You're betting on the Brewers, which are a very good team, no doubt about it. but I like the White Sox this year. Smith is the ace of this staff. I liked him last year. He did have some control issues, but he's looked better in that regard this year. I think these teams like the St. Louis, in some of these teams like this, Minnesota or Miami, some of the teams like this we're going to be able to make some money because there's a lot of people that like these teams. And right now, the general public will be betting on the teams that they know and the players they know. So we get great advantages here.
Yeah, so I got to ask you. So, again, dealer's choice. Do you want White Sox money line in the parlay, or for the parlay's sake, do you want to go plus 1.5? You can do either. It's up to you.
Okay, let's see what kind of numbers we've got here. Okay, I could get the White Sox right now in the 155 to 163 range. If I look at the spread on this, I get the White Sox plus the 1.5, but I have to lay the number.
Yep.
You're probably laying anywhere from 130 to 140, maybe 135. What do you guys think? Should I give my clients just the side play. I'd rather take the plus money because I don't play parlays. But
all right, let's do it. Listen, we go for broke right out of the gate. Put
right.
Nice big money line in there. I don't hate it. I don't. I'm a White Sox guy, Brian. I talked about it yesterday. You want to hear my thoughts about the Sox? I think I can't remember if they came up yesterday, but any show last year, you get my thoughts on the White Sox.
That's shows to go back and watch.
They're actually called the Adam Trigger Chicago White Sox.
I'll add one thing real quick just because we have the time to do it. As far as the White Sox are concerned, like today, they don't play tomorrow. So a lot of these teams don't play tomorrow, but the White Sox specifically do not play tomorrow. And why that matters, you theoretically could go Smith to Leisure to Sir Anthony Dominguez to Grant Taylor in some fashion today. Yeah. That is appealing right there.
Those are the three bullpen guys out of Chicago that are great. Yes.
I actually like Smith. He's a pretty good pitcher. Yeah.
So what do you want to call it? Plus 160, plus 155? What are you seeing like that's kind of fair? I think we could probably call it. I'll put 160. I see enough of that. I mean, again, as always, like shop around, And yes, Steve, this is another one. I'll just jump in here. The plus 1.5, like, again, this is one Brian was saying, yeah, you're asked to lay a little bit of juice. You kind of are. I think if this was 20 cents cheaper, I may, I might be inclined to take the plus 1.5 there with them on the road, knowing I was going to get that kind of stack of pitchers. I'd be looking to stay. That's a good plus 1.5 bet, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I'm about 50 cents off on the money line. 40 maybe. I think I made it like Brewers like minus 135. I think it was up as high as minus 180. So yeah, I'm kind of pro White Sox today. We have an extra minute or two before I get to my best bet. TB, do you want to chime in on Brewers White Sox quick before we move on?
Brewers White Sox. I don't really have much of an opinion on it. Brewers were, every time I talk about the Brewers, I get egg on my face, right? Last year, I said, after they lost to the
Cardinals this year, buddy.
Yeah. Last year, the Brewers, I said, their season is over. They lost that game to the Mets. Their season over. What did they do? They went on to have one of the best records in MLB. I think they did finish with the best record in MLB. So, Brewers prognostications don't go exactly well for me, but I do agree with you. I like Smith, but the Brewers always have good pitchers. I thought the Brewers kind of overplayed themselves last season, and I think the White Sox will improve. So I think this is going to be a real grinded out game. If you gave me a 1.5, I probably would take it, but I'm not going to bet this game.
Yeah, I very long-term high on the Brewers. I think they have a ton of pitching depth, but we're talking about single games, individual games. Yeah, I think early in the year, yesterday we talked about win totals and stuff like that. And you have to not try to project out the whole season in the now it's just two teams playing 9 innings today. And I think that could be challenging as bettors. Like we sit here all spring and say, well, this team's going to do this or whatever. And then we get to the one, today, and you got to realize it's just 9 innings today. with the pitchers that are on the field, the players that are on the field. So I guess that's we'll get to my best bet here in a minute. But so for me, I'll tell you what, D Nice wants to talk Twins Orioles, and I'm using the Pirates as my best bet. So we've already talked that whole game. I'm not going to go back into that. Pirates even money is a play for me today. And if you missed the breakdown of that, as always, this show is live. It's on demand on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. So just rewind to the beginning. You'll get all of our thoughts on that. So I will use my time here at the end, and I'll bring you two back in real quick. Twins, Orioles. I'll start. I like both of these teams. I think the Twins are a lot better than they're getting credit for, and I will promo my new segment. It's going to be called Off the Radar. I'm going to do like 10 or 15 minutes each day on players that I'm watching in the minors. I might even throw a AAA bet out. I bet those for clients. But ultimately, what we'll be focusing on is guys that are flying under the radar, the 40-man roster guys, the guys that you might not know about, but that may, be bettable, or, I'm trying to give out actionable info, and I'm going to use this game. So I'm going to save my thoughts on Twins Orioles for that game. Just check that out on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. 90 seconds or less, Bryan Leonard, Twins Orioles, anything for D Nice.
Love both these pitchers. The only thing I would take a look at is the under in the first half, probably in this game.
What about you, TB? Twins Orioles, anything for you in this one?
Totally agree with Brian. I normally would say take the Orioles here. The Twins are kind of looks like they're going to be trash this season, but I don't want to bet against Joe Ryan, so I would take an under in the first 5 as well. If I bet it, which I didn't.
Another quick question for you, TB. I know you are very meticulous about how you rate players and pitchers. So I'll ask you both, and you can say yes, no. You can even tell me where you have him in your rankings if you want. Joe Ryan, top 15 starter in Major League Baseball. I say yes. Where do you yes or no? Joe Ryan, he's the starter today.
I say he's on the precipice. I'm going to use that word again. I don't know if he's that. I don't know if I got him ranked that high.
Okay, no, that's fine.
He's extremely solid and he's very reliable, but I don't know if he's an ace, so to speak.
So on the precipice is a no. Bryan Leonard, go ahead. Yes or no, Joe Ryan, top 15 starter, Major League Baseball?
Anywhere from 15 to 20. He did have that thing in the preseason. He got hurt a little bit, which makes me probably say not top 15 at this right now. If you ask me today, no.
Okay. I mean, I've been a Joe Ryan guy for a couple of years, and I will, but that's not what I'm focused on for this matchup. What I'm going to talk about on the off the radar segment is more about what you got to look for with the Twins in general this year, which are the names you don't know. I would say everyone knows who Joe Ryan is at this point. So we are at the end of the show. Remember, we've got the double play special. So that's any of the two of us, whoever annoys you the most, you can throw out. And then you have the other two. It's a great deal either way. We also have the 3 days for 6 special. That's all access. So like if you want to use that on me, you'll get all the college basketball this weekend as well. And then Tokyo Brandon's got a 5% coming right out of the gate. I guess not really right out of the gate. He won yesterday, so why not? He's got the 5%er today. So if you're looking for one play, that's probably the move. And then the first show parlay of like 6 months of trying to keep our heads above water on the parlay. We are coming in hot though. Bryan Leonard plus 160 White Sox money line. I'm going even money on the Pirates. And then Tokyo Brandon, Angels, Astros under 8.5. That's going to have minus 130 juice. So one more time, that's Pirates money line. That's White Sox money line. Angels, Astros minus 130. I'll calculate the odds when we get off the show, but those are what the individual game odds are going to be. Before we got a minute before we anyone have anything to say in the final 60 seconds before we sign off?
I do believe we're all going to be doing daily videos, so keep that in mind. We've just got to figure out when to get them up. And like I said, I'm doing most of my work a little bit later today, so we'll have everything up for clients later on today. Yeah,
same here. Daily videos. I'm almost daily free plays on my Twitter as well. So go to WagerTalk on YouTube and subscribe and check our videos out as well, not just the live show.
Yeah, the likes and subscribes, the comments help. The viewers on this chat are as good at jumping in the comments as any show I've ever been on. So we very much appreciate that. And yeah, we'll be back 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, opening day part 2. And then every day, Monday through Friday, the rest of the year, I believe Saturdays starting next week. This Saturday, we're talking college hoops still on Last Call. Next week, we'll be starting the Major League Baseball portion of Last Call. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you in the morning.